Hey, gentlemen, this is Vince Miller. Thanks so much for joining me today. So the question I'm going to deal with today is, what format should I use when I'm leading a mentoring session or a men's small group? And I know this can kind of be a big question for those of you who have not led a men's group before or mentoring session, but I kind of want to take some of your stress and demystify it by just simply saying that leading a spiritual meeting is just like leading any other meeting that you might lead, even one at work. We're just going to add a few spiritual components into it, right? So I'm going to illustrate formats by using some of my books to illustrate potential formats that you could use. Now, these books can be picked up actually on my website at beresolute.org. You don't have to use my books, but I'm going to use them as an illustration because they were made to be easy to use for a men's leader. So this book right here, entitled Disciplines for Men, has five simple chapters in it. Very short chapters because men don't read a lot. And my suggestion is basically to do this, is to read a chapter or a series and select that beforehand so that you're prepared for your group time. So what I would do before a group meeting is I would read a single chapter. I would decide whether or not I want to give these out to the men in the group as well. I would read the chapter, then maybe highlight the heading, maybe some subheadings, maybe a quote and a verse in that chapter. And then as we start the meeting, I would, of course, pray and dive into that topic, maybe highlighting a few of the comments that I've made, thoughts that I have, and things that Vince said in his book. Do you agree? Do you not agree? And tee them up for the guys. It just kind of gives you a format for the time to maybe guide the topic toward a biblical text and toward a topic that's interesting for men. Every one of my books at the end of the chapter has some questions for you so that you actually can have a pre-selected grouping of questions to deliver to the men, because that's what keeps the conversation going. Not just you talking, but them engaging with questions, right? And you can use some of my questions at the end of each chapter or whoever's questions from the book that you're using. But the point is to come up with some questions that create intrigue so that men will engage in a dialogue. Because whether you believe it or not, men actually do like to talk to one another, and they have a lot of opinions, sometimes strong opinions, that you kind of want to tease out there and get them to share so that you can build community and kind of group understanding and get them to allow their minds to be renewed by the Word of God. So that's one format right here. I also have other books like these 20 Lessons books. This is just one of many 20 Lessons books. This one happens to be on the topic of finances. In it are not just 5 lessons, but 20. Again, very short chapters with questions at the end of each. Another way that you could do this is you could actually lead one week and then hand the leadership off to another man one week, and another man one week, and another man one week, allowing him to emulate what you are doing. Maybe start off with prayer as part of your format, tee up the topic as part of your format, ask questions as a part of your format, but also an additional format would be to let other people lead the time. This is how men become spiritual leaders, is by practicing it in a safe spot with other men, right? I also have this book right here entitled 30 Virtues That Build a Man. This is by far the easiest book that I have for any man to lead. Every chapter is 2 pages long. It has a little bit of Bible text in it, and I use this build process here, BUILD, build, which stands for begin, unpack, inform, land, and do. I use that build process as a way to ask questions to the guys. But each week or each time you meet, you're digging into a biblical text in 2 pages. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but I promise you, with a group of guys, this could be an hour or an hour and a half of incredible discussion. 30 virtues that build a man. And by the way, these are topics my grandfather talked to me about when he was teaching me about God and what it meant to be a man. So all these are just kind of resources or formats that you could use in a men's group time. I would always begin and end with prayer. I would always have some content to bring, always bring some questions, and that's basically it. You can add in all kinds of other elements, and every once in a while, maybe in your format, you take a break because someone's dealing with an issue in the group, and those guys come around that guy, listen to him, offer advice, pray for him. You know, there's really no wrong format. The only wrong format is to not step into it and lead other men. So that's my encouragement to you. Fellas, if you need anything at all, you can reach out to me through my website at beresolute.org. I would love to hear from you, whether or not you have questions about this video or maybe other questions that I could help you answer. It's very important for me that you're successful as a men's leader, because we can't do this thing without you. Fellas, I love you. Live all in for him who lived all in for you.